We have some pretty big PlayStation news to go over today. Cloud streaming. This all comes after the rumors with the cross-buy that we did talk about yesterday. It looks like Marvel is looking to do more work with Insomniac Games. We actually have a list of games already coming to Game Pass in 2026. There's already 20 plus games that are coming. And this will be on top of all the first party stuff and stuff that we obviously don't know about. There will be a lot more games, of course, throughout the year. Nintendo, they are actually looking to acquire more video game companies. So they may be on the hunt right now. So we will go over all of this. But before we do, if you enjoy a daily gaming news and content, hit the subscribe button, share the video, like it, all of that stuff. For now, let's get into the news. So 2026 is going to be arguably the biggest year in Xbox, maybe ever. It's up there, definitely will be as one of the biggest years with all of the first party games. If they do end up releasing them, launching on time, you have Fable, Gears, Forza, Halo, and then you'll have next year's Call of Duty and probably a bunch of other things that we do not know about either from a first party perspective, big third party games or partner games that they are working on. So 2026 will be massive. 2025 has been a phenomenal year, and I thought 2024 was very good. I think Xbox has been on a roll now over the last number of years. Game Pass is the big differentiating factor here with those games launching in the service day one, but we already have 20 plus games that are already confirmed for Xbox Game Pass in 2026. And here is the list of games. There are a bunch here, but I mean, some of the big ones for third party side of things would be High on Life 2. That's a big one. You got a Philion, which looks like a very cool space style of game. Kind of reminds me of the Alters, just in terms of the aesthetics and everything. That one does look very cool. You have Menace for PC. You got a Fate's End, Beast of Reincarnation, Bistro, Daisy, Badlands, Dench Attack, Fable, Forza Horizon 6, Freestyle Football 2, Gears of War E-Day, Halo Campaign Evolved, Moonlighter 2 for console, which is a pretty cool series, Persona 4 Revival, forgot that one was coming, Planet of Lana 2, Replace, we've heard about Replace for so long, and that one still hasn't been released. That one's also coming. Residence, A Plague Tale Legacy, Sledding Game, Subnautica 2, Super Meat Boy 3D, TCG Card Shop Simulator. There are no ghosts at the Grand, which looks pretty cool. Tropico 7, Wildkin. So that's a pretty big list. And there's a lot of big third-party stuff there, like right off of the bat. Persona 4 Revival, Planet of Lana 2, Subnautica 2, Super Meat Boy 3D. There are no ghosts at the Grand, Tropico 7. Like those are all big, relatively big third-party games for people who do enjoy those styles of games. High on Life 2, of course. The first one I really did enjoy, so I'm excited to check that out. Plus the first-party games that they've already announced. It's going to be a massive year. It's going to be a year where, yes, the Game Pass price raised for Ultimate, but I think you will see a lot of people start to probably sign up for a month or two at that higher price raise or try to get Game Pass Ultimate at a lower price just to be able to get in and try out and play some of these games, because I think it's going to be nonstop big games throughout the entire year for 2026. And I'm excited. I mean, even these last couple of months, I've been eating very well on Game Pass. I mean, Call of Duty is coming out in a week or so, about 10 days. And then I'm playing Ninja Gaiden 4 right now. Still need to jump into the Outer Worlds 2. And the list just goes on and on. Like the last few months of the year for Game Pass has been nonstop. Not enough time in the world to play every single game, but excited to try them all out. All right, we got some pretty big news from PlayStation. This is something that we talked about yesterday and in previous weeks, that this was rumored to be happening. And I thought this is a great thing. This is something that I was hoping was there at the beginning of the PlayStation Portal, because I bought a PlayStation Portal. I have a video and everything talking about it. I returned it within a week because I just found the device kind of useless for me specifically. It really was only doing remote play, and that's just not really what I was looking for. I was hoping there would be more features like cloud streaming, which you did not need a PlayStation 5 to actually use this thing. And now this is finally here. And this is big, has implications for many reasons, has implications for Xbox, all of these things, because of this new announcement here from PlayStation with the PlayStation Portal. Cloud streaming officially arrives on the PlayStation Portal today. They say here with a new support for digital PS5 games in your own library. And there's over 1,000 and some games, I believe, that are actually being added for the full list of streamable games. They say PlayStation Plus premium members can now stream select digital PS5 games from their own library at launch. Thousands of PS5 games support cloud streaming, including Astrobot, Borderlands 4, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Fortnite, Ghost of Yotai, Grand Theft Auto 5, and Resident Evil 4. And in addition, hundreds of compatible games from the PlayStation Plus games catalog and classics catalog, including Cyberpunk, God of War, Hogwarts Legacy, Sword of the Sea, and The Last of Us Part 2 Remaster are all streamable directly from the cloud. There is an entire list. You can see all of them. So they're saying thousands of games are actually available. And you go in on your PlayStation portal, you'll get an update, and then you're going to be able to go through and select the games that you want to play. And you won't need a PS5. You do not need a PS5 anymore to play PlayStation. We already knew that with obviously PC, but now even with the PlayStation Portal itself, you don't even need the console anymore to access that catalog of games. They're redesigning the UI. I think it looks pretty sleek. I think they've done a nice job with this. They usually do a decent job with their user interface. And then they're adding a bunch of other features here for this most recent update. But the massive thing here is PlayStation Portal is getting native cloud streaming, not via remote play, not via your PS5. And this is huge because this was one of the major differentiating factors, you could argue, here for Xbox and for Xbox Game Pass. Xbox Cloud Gaming in there where you can play games on any device, no matter what. You didn't need an actual Xbox. With the whole "This is an Xbox" campaign came in. That was one of the reasons they were doing that, was because of the cloud streaming factor. Now PlayStation is dipping their toes into that here with the PlayStation Portal. And you have to ask yourself, with the Xbox games going over to PlayStation, what differentiating factors is Xbox going to come up with now to differentiate themselves as a platform that you really want to go to more so than the PlayStation side of things if PlayStation starts to basically copy everything that Xbox is doing? We talked about this yesterday with the cross-buy thing. If that does end up coming to fruition, this is basically just following exactly what the Xbox ecosystem is doing. And I foresee that happening. I foresee PlayStation needing to make more money, needing to expand out their user base, and just following along the lines of what Xbox has now been doing for a number of years. I wouldn't be shocked if in the future, once they're building out the PC app for PlayStation, they give you the access to the cloud on any device, on your phone or anything like that. I don't see why they would hold that back. There really is no reason, especially if you are staying within the PlayStation ecosystem inside of that app. I can definitely see that happening, that maybe in a few years from now, you're going to have your Xbox app and your PlayStation app, and you're going to get your catalog of games from both right there. You will literally not need a console from either platform holder anymore going forward if you just want to play games. The consoles will still have a place. I mean, Xbox is still making a console the next generation. PlayStation's obviously still making a console the next generation. That'll be for the hardcore gamers and the people that want to have all of the native software downloaded and get the overall best experience. But this here, what PlayStation is doing is the beginning, I think, of more steps that are going to be coming to expand out their ecosystem. And I think it's great. I think it's great for consumers. Thing that you have to think about from the Xbox perspective is how will they continue to differentiate. In fact, Jez Corden wrote a great article here. I'll link it in the description below, but he says that PlayStation forced Microsoft to give up Xbox exclusives and now wants to destroy Xbox at cloud gaming and Xbox Play Anywhere cross-buy as well. He goes over some of the stuff that has happened over the last couple of days, but the big question here, and actually does mention this is important, that PlayStation Plus tallies 2,845 games, which is more than Xbox Cloud Gaming. But the big question here that is asked at the end, and I think this is now going to become something that needs to be asked, is in a world where Xbox's ecosystem no longer has key differentiators like cloud and PC cross-buy. Again, PC cross-buy is still not there for PlayStation. It's really only a rumor at this point. But if they do implement this, they say, wouldn't you rather go to the near identical ecosystem that has exclusive games too? Does anyone actually care outside of the social media bubble? We'll know for sure in the coming years ahead. So the whole exclusive argument is going to come back up because I was looking at Xbox itself and they were putting games on PlayStation. And I said, it's not really going to make that big of a deal from the Xbox side because they have so many things that still make that ecosystem significantly better. Game Pass, cloud gaming, Play Anywhere, all of that stuff I care way more about than having an exclusive game on the ecosystem where I can just access it on a different one if it's not there. But now, if PlayStation copies this exactly, and you are getting all of those different features out there, there will have to be other differentiators that Xbox does work on. I do think something like the PC console hybrid is still a major big one, because technically that is still going to be the number one place where you get the most access for all of your games, because you would be able to access the PC app that PlayStation potentially is working on, or that they've been rumored to work on that device. So all of those things still come into play. But if PlayStation directly copies Xbox, some of their competitive advantages, some of their differentiators, they are going away. And what will Xbox do to counter that? Because they're going to have to continue to grow and counter this stuff. They still have to compete in some way. So lots of interesting stuff here. The industry is evolving. The good thing for the consumer and the gamer is we're getting more access to our games. And that the reality is, at the end of the day, that's all that matters for us. Now, we know that Marvel works with Insomniac Games, Wolverine, Spider-Man. I think Insomniac is a great developer. It looks like they will continue to work with them. As this article has come out saying, Marvel Games says it'll continue to work with Spider-Man and Wolverine studio Insomniac for many years to come. They're currently working on the upcoming Wolverine, which looks very, very good. And they say this: we've spent upwards of a decade building the Marvel game portfolio, and it's been fun watching the tapestry unfold game by game and to see players' reactions. There's been a tremendous level of thought that went into the games that we decided to pursue. We've almost instinctively operated from this place of no regrets, meaning if we projected ourselves 20 years into the future and looked back, we don't ever want to say we should have made this game, or why did we not push harder to make this happen? There's a great sense of responsibility at play here. Marvel is an almost 90-year-old creative brand, yet it's a fresh as ever, because during all the time each new generation grew up with Marvel, ultimately became creators and left their mark, and then passed the torch to the next generation. We happen to be here now carrying this torch, and we feel we have a debt of gratitude to deliver for the players and the future creators whose first encounter with Marvel might well be one of our games. And that is specifically interview with Game Informer. And they were speaking here with Haluk Mentis, who was talking about Marvel's philosophy regarding video games. Now, with all of that being said, he also notes that the partner creates a successful product, and he says we are also actively seeking collaborators that want to take on the same mantle. As is usually the case, once we complete a project together, they too become Marvel, and Marvel's Wolverine with our dear friends at Insomniac Games is perhaps the epitome of this philosophy. So they talk about working with Insomniac, working more with them, but also looking for other partners. We know Blade is in development with Xbox. I wonder if Xbox looks at this and they see the success, the easy cash in when you're making a Marvel game. Like, that is the reality of it. Yeah, Spider-Man is a great game, but it has the name Spider-Man attached to it. So that instantly gives you an easier sell for that game to a lot of people who may not even pay attention to the gaming industry, or may not even pay attention to PlayStation studios or Xbox studios or anything like that. They just see Spider-Man and they'll go out and buy it. I think there's definitely a lot to be held here. Of course, that will cost a lot to get licenses, but they're working on Blade. I wonder if they're going to try to get other characters and make their own Marvel universes within Xbox, because they're saying they're open to all of that, which I think is an interesting thing going forward. What will be next from Insomniac, though, after Wolverine? Probably Spider-Man 3, I would assume. All right. PlayStation apparently as well is working on dynamic game pricing. This is something that has been surfacing. Very weird. It seems like people will have different pricing depending on their interactions with the ecosystem. A very odd thing, but we're seeing this pop up again here with PlayStation on Reddit. And yeah, I wonder if this is something they're going to try to roll out more and more to incentivize people to stay and use the PlayStation Network more and more, so they can get better prices on game. This is a article that came up on Gaming Leaks and Rumor on Reddit, saying Sony possibly experimenting with dynamic game pricing. In a rather odd turn of events, the PlayStation Store will be rolling out dynamic pricing for certain games. So this, they were talking about specifically Astrobot, and they logged in onto their account and they saw the price was $44.99, but when they signed out, it was $60. So there's some difference going on there. They say here, my investigation led me to a Reddit post that revealed others are experiencing discounts for games ranging from 5 to 25%. And nobody, I guess, really knows why that is the case. They say that they've maxed out their PlayStation stars. So they asked a friend who has opted in, and their price listed was $60. So they say far from a confirmation, but represents a possibility. So some dynamic pricing is happening. People are getting different prices for games within the PlayStation network. In fact, this Reddit user posted on November 5th talking about how they were going to buy Red Dead Redemption 2, the Ultimate Edition. And they say, was excited to finally purchase RDR2 until I realized the price was lower on my wife's account. And then they said that they showed the evidence of how the game's price differed from both accounts. You can see here $19.99, I guess, versus wife's account, which was $14.99. A very odd thing, a $5 discrepancy. Why is that the case? Why are some accounts getting better pricing than others? Is this widespread across the PlayStation network and the games on their network that they're selling? Who knows? And PlayStation has said nothing about this. So it's hard to tell what the reasoning behind this would be. And if this is something they're testing out slowly with a few customers, and then they're going to roll it out and then announce something where if you have like a certain amount of subscription time or whatever, you're getting a better price on games, which would incentivize gamers to stay and continue within the PlayStation network and do more things there and not stray away to other platforms. Because that is one of the things that all of these companies are fighting for, is your attention to stay within their ecosystem. And it's becoming harder and harder. So I could see them doing something like that, where they're just going to have better pricing here if you stay within PSN. And finally, it looks like Nintendo, they are currently considering acquiring video game companies. The last, I would say, of the big three you would expect right now to be doing acquisitions, with just Nintendo doing Nintendo things. Their consoles are selling like crazy. They're very successful. Do they need to spend money on acquisitions? They're usually more conservative on this stuff. So this is what we know right now. Nintendo's president Shintaro Furukawa has set out the various ways the Kyoto-based company will invest in order to bolster the company video game development. One of the things they do say here in their first point is, first is strengthening game development. We will work to strengthen the internal game development organization within the Nintendo Group, and this includes initiatives such as acquiring development companies to make them subsidiaries and augmenting our development facilities and the construction of corporate headquarters development center building number 2. So they're looking to make purchases. Now, I don't really know or think this means like a major purchase and getting a bunch of games with it and everything. I feel like they're probably just looking more into looking at strong developers that are partner developers that work on Nintendo games already, and then purchase those up, make them first party Nintendo developers, and then help get stronger in that sense. That's kind of where I see that going, but who knows? Maybe Nintendo is on the prowl right now to acquire different companies that actually bring over IPs and games for their ecosystem. You never know. It's been an insane generation, but we'll see if they do make any moves there. But I'm going to end the video there. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.